And welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk today as we are again broadcasting to you on Periscope via Twitter, again, YouTube as well, as we're live streaming this afternoon, being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, where they're offering, delivery service or through the window, order through the takeout. And again, you'll find them over on the South Greeley Highway, downtown KRAE Avenue. Del Range and Ridge, Persian and Ridge, and on the north side on Yellowstone. We also want to thank Kia of Cheyenne on Nation Way. Platte Valley Bank ×2. Again, don't forget to use the drive-thrus as they have two of them for you on the east side at the corner of College and Pershing and at the original location on Vandehigh. Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Del Range right across from Powers Field and Menards. Again, two convenient drive-thrus for you, and they're also offering curbside as well. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs, open Monday through Saturday. You can go inside or you can use the convenient drive-thru outside. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. Yes, they're open for you. See Bruce and the crew today over at B&B Appliance and TV, where they service what they sell. Selling on the appliance side, GE, Maytag, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, and others for you at B&B Appliance and TV. Lennox Auto Body, the main repair center over on Dunn Avenue, and the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. Give them a call if you need their services, please. 634-6608. Founded by Dick Lennox and the tradition carried on by his daughter Heather, serving our community for over a quarter century. First Tier Bank over at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, and get a hold of First Tier Bank to do some banking inside in the lobby. You can give them a call at 632-3500. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D, the Greenway Commons. Joe and the great crew serving up delicious Paisan cuisine 7 days a week. Again, offering curbside as well as takeout at Mondello's Pizzeria. And again, our program being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. That would be our scoreboard. But since there's no scoreboard, let us tell you what we have on the program for you today. We're going to be talking to four special guests. Former head coach of the Cheyenne Stampede, Neil Breen, up next. We'll also be talking to the Western Nebraska Pioneers and Casper Horseheads baseball club owner Chuck Heeman. We also will have a new LCCC men's basketball coach DeWayne Saulsberry coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Also in the 4 o'clock hour, we will chat with UW Athletic Director Tom Burman. It's all coming up right here.
You got lucky on one of those words. Thankfully, we're not on FCC regulations with YouTube and Periscope on that one. But also, too, do want to remind folks at least upcoming this weekend as well. We will have Final Four action, also to national championship game of the 1480 KRAE Virtual March Madness live streams. Again, thank you to all who have tuned in. Again, we've had thousands of viewers for every weekend, for every game. So again, appreciate everyone who's tuned in and kind of played along with it. Again, we will have Final Four action. Times and dates. Again, it's happening this weekend, but also too, again, this weekend we do have 2 days of WrestleMania, which I've kind of interested in. So we're going to try and figure out, by Friday, we'll figure out where we're kind of placing a lot of this, at least action upcoming. So again, looking forward to it. Online, again, at Nick Wiles Sports for all updates. Facebook.com/Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Not as easy as you
1480 think. 1480 KRAE as well too on the Facebook side. So again, stay tuned. We do also have a Google document. Link has been posted all over the place for the bracket of how you follow along, see where we got to this point in time. So again, just look for all that on the social media sides. Again, we will update it as soon as possible once we get schedules and everything all set up. Again, it is Final Four weekend and the national championship upcoming.
All right, we are going to take a timeout. Our first guest, join us live from the state of Connecticut. Coming up in just a bit, we'll be talking with head coach Neil Breen right after this here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. And welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk. Today we are talking with CT Chiefs hockey head coach Neil Breen. Breener, it is so good to talk to you. We haven't talked to you in a long, long time, pal. How you been?
Great. How you guys doing in these crazy times?
You know, it's been different. I guess in my lifetime, I thought I've seen it all, but we add something else to the list now. Hey, first and foremost, how's the family doing during this time? And again, you know, obviously in your part of the world, it seems to be a little more intense than it is out here in our part of the world.
Yeah, you know, it's just weird. I mean, we're kind of staying at home just because, like you said, it's a little more prevalent out here. We're pretty close to New York. We're not far. We're only about 2.5 hours away from New York City. So, you know, the cases in Connecticut they're not massive, but they're substantial. So we're just trying to stick at home and, you know, cabin fever type mentality. Watching a lot of Netflix, doing a lot of recruiting, and working out a ton.
You know, we'll get back into the hockey mold here in just a minute. It was really different this year, Nick. I think you'll agree with me. Without having hockey in our part of the world, you know, I don't know how much you keep up with Mark Lance, but I'm sure it was a little different for you, not being in Cheyenne, but doing your business now in Connecticut.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was different. The hockey culture out here is quite a bit different from the Midwest, and you know, this league is very established. We do, you know, the EHL is a premier league for moving kids into Division II and Division III NCAA hockey. So it's you know, coming in like I was really like the rookie in a sense, and there's some really good teams and really good coaches and recruiters in this league. So, you know, it was kind of a rebuild year, and similar to like it was when I came into Cheyenne. I can't seem to get a job where everything's already figured out, right?
Okay.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you are that at least handyman to kind of build up these teams. It's certainly been doing it out there in Connecticut, where, you know, looking at this Chiefs at least team of what you had going into this season. Again, a lot of former names, former faces that folks here in Cheyenne were accustomed to with the Stampede program. Talk about some of those folks that you did manage to get from the Western States Hockey League out there to Connecticut, at least Connecticut with your team.
Yeah, so we had like Brendan Carew was with us. We had Brian Waters was out here. You know, Mike Eastman was out here. Gosh, who am I forgetting from those? Who else do we have in Cheyenne? We had a good number of guys from Cheyenne. I'm probably forgetting some names, but it was you know, like those guys came and it was a tough adjustment for them. The league is quite a bit stronger than the Western States Hockey League, so it was an adjustment for them. But Brian did really well. He got a lot of college attention, and actually, a Division II school in the NE10 was working on committing him. And so he basically what he's doing is he's playing a year of ACHA at Iowa State, and then get his kind of his grade point average up a little bit, and then he's going to go on to NCAA. So a lot of good things for him. Carew is looking at committing to 2 different schools right now. That we'll know about that pretty soon. You know, and I had a bunch of other guys that committed to some schools as well. So you know, like. It was a really interesting start. Like I only kept one player from the previous team coming in, so it totally built the team from scratch. And we really are proud of our foundation, our returning guys, and actually a former Stampeder is going to be coming back. Logan Syrup will be coming back for his 20-year-old year. You know, I'm working on a couple other guys too. I'm working on Miller. Trying to get him out here. I think he'd be good in this league. So, but you know, we're really happy with the recruits we have coming in, and we're really happy with the guys we have coming back. So it should be a great year.
So essentially, it's the Cheyenne Chiefs out there, and they just happen to be located in Connecticut. Basically, what you're telling me, Coach. But but with this season, though, again, it's first year for you as a new head coach out there with the Chiefs program. Again, for these players who are accustomed to the Western States Hockey League, now moving all the way across country out there to the East Coast, playing in a different league. Talk about the differences that you've noticed so far, at least playing some games or at least being the head coach there with the Chiefs. And what are some of the notable differences that your players have also have seen with this new league?
Well, the biggest difference is the exposure to NCAA. I mean, we have 5 showcases out here where there's anywhere from 80 to 100 NCAA scouts in attendance. We're in the backyard of like 85 to 90% of the NCAA hockey programs out here. So, I have NCAA guys coming to my practices. So it's pretty awesome. Like, we have schools that are, 5 and 10 minutes away from our facility. The guys on the weekends, they can go watch Division I games. They can go watch NHL games. So the difference is exposure. There's just a ton of exposure for the players, and the amount of college-ready players in this league is outstanding. I mean, every night is a tough game. There was a weak team this year, but the team is the teams that are really weak, the competition committee kind of does away with. This year we have 2 new teams coming in to replace some of the older ones that are kind of out now. So we're still sticking around to like a 18-19 team league, and the competition is fierce every night. It's pretty cool.
Coach, you said it without really saying it. It's a common theme that we hear out in this part of the world, especially when we're doing hoops or football, and it's the terms bigger, stronger, and faster. So obviously you saw that right away when you took over the Chiefs program there in Connecticut. So to adapt to the bigger, stronger, faster mentality, what did you have to do as a head coach to get acclimated to this real quick?
So, I mean, for me, it was about kind of adapting, my coaching style to the style of play that was out here. I mean, you got to teach a speed and a speed game that, you want to promote your players to protect pucks and possess pucks. You don't really want to get too fancy here. You simplify everything as much as you can, because at the end of the day, that's what the NCAA guys want to see. They want to see the dynamic players play a simple, responsible game. So for me as a coach, like, I've always coached that way. I've always tried to coach a simple game, but it's even more so in this league. You really got to push even your most talented guys to keep it simple, make smart plays. There's no time in the D zone to make any moves. You got to get rid of it, got to get moving, got to go north, got to get it on net. So it's just about, changing my mentality. If anything, it's me kind of harping more on the things that I've always harped on, but having to do it right away. I mean, right from the drop of the hat here, you're tested in this league. So it's pretty cool. It's fun to coach in this league, no question.
Let's talk about at least this first season where, we know sports in general across the nation, across the world have kind of put on a pause right now with the COVID situation around the world. But, out there with your league, assuming that your season was cut short, or is it a scenario that the league office or league management is looking into possibly postponing it and then starting up at a later date?
Well, right now everything's just kind of on pause. The league itself decided to follow whatever USA Hockey is mandating. So we're basically at the mercy of USA Hockey. If they say, we got to postpone tryouts or we got to skates, then that's what we got to do.
Coach, did you, once that everything shut down, and again, I look at the National Hockey League, they got somewhere between 2/3, almost 3/4 of the season done. How much of the season did you get done, and did you send everybody home?
Yeah, we got the season done, we were going into postseason, and they canceled the whole thing. So pretty much, they left it as everything undecided. Sort of cut our losses kind of deal, and then they went ahead and did the awards as far as best player, MVP, most improved player, things like that. But yeah, we sent everybody home right as soon as the season concluded, and then it was like right around that same time is when everything started to hit the fan, if you will.
With the Cheyenne Stampede, and from your time here, drew some pretty decent crowds. Sundays were kind of your lighter ones, but how were the crowds? Because it sounds like the hockey excitement, like you mentioned, with the college coaches out there, and again, so much hockey available all through the New England area there. How were the crowds at your events?
So the Eastern Hockey League doesn't really have a lot of crowd, if you will. I mean, we have your house families and your parents and things like that, but there's so much hockey around here that like to pay to come and watch a junior hockey league team is sort of not really something that happens too often. I mean, Quinnipiac University is 30 minutes away from our facility, which is a buzzing D1 program right now. And, you got Harvard, Yale, they're all nearby. Even the NESCAC schools, the Division III college NCAA stuff, I mean, they're right down the road. And, those games, most of them you don't even have to pay to go to. So there's just so much available hockey here that it's tough to get fans, especially compete. I mean, we have in Hartford here, we have an AHL team. The Rangers aren't too far away, the Bruins. So we don't get a lot of fans, and I miss that about Cheyenne and all of our awesome fans in the stands and all the support we got there. I definitely miss that. I mean, that's great for the guys and great for everybody. But the people we really care about being in the stands here is the guys with college logos on their chest.
Absolutely, Coach. You mentioned at least 30 minutes away, and we've talked plenty about this, but again, you are a Quinnipiac Hall of Famer. Again, you put up some great numbers out there with that college. Speaking of which, have you been able to kind of roam the at least locker rooms over there at Quinnipiac? Have you been able to take your team over there to kind of showcase off of, hey, this is what, if you step your game up here, this is what it could lead to, what your kind of future goal could possibly be?
Yeah, actually, I brought some of the guys like Carew and Waters came out here for camp before the season, and I took them to Quinnipiac, and I toured them around the building. We were the only ones in the building, and they loved that. There's a banner in the building with my name on it. That kind of helps a little bit. And the guys, throughout the season, they went and watched a bunch of games at Quinnipiac, and it's definitely a draw for these guys to kind of see that, and me being so close to Quinnipiac, it definitely helps. Not to mention me talking with Rand every now and again. I was a captain for him, so he still answers my calls, which is great. So it's definitely, it's a pretty robust college hockey experience out here for junior players. Like they can get out and see a lot of good hockey and see a lot of great facilities.
Coach, you also had that opportunity to catch some showcases and do a little scouting. But now, I guess, with the high technology world, and of course, you're going to have to do a lot of business from home. So I'm venturing to say that you got the laptop open and you're looking at a lot of MP3s, and I'm sure some young men are sending some of their works to you as well, huh?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I'm putting in 5-6 hours a day, on the phones, on the computer, talking to guys. Nothing really stops. Recruiting never really stops. So, I mean, hopefully this thing gets lifted sooner than later so we can get a camp together. But, if not, we're going to be fine. I got a good list of guys that are coming in for training camp already. So, if we got to hold this thing off until, June, July, that's fine. We'll be fine. I work hard during the season to recruit just as hard as I do off season. So everything's looking great at this point.
When's training camp is expected to be in place?
So training camp is usually Labor Day weekend is when we get started. But things might get pushed back a little bit with the delay here. So usually it'll be like first couple weeks in September, I'm guessing.
Coach, also, too, again, we appreciate you joining us here today on Wyoming Sports Talk today. It's been a long time since we've at least had the pleasure to chat with hockey, at least some hockey with you. But,
well, we've been thinking about you.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, we've been missing Stampede hockey out here without a doubt. But the also, too, reason we brought you on the show today is you have a nice little fundraiser going on. And again, as the world kind of continues on, something that at least I saw that you posted on Facebook. It's something that you've been kind of doing a little interactivity with. Just talk about this fundraiser and talk about what you're doing as well too to bring eyes and funds into this fundraiser that you're doing, Coach.
Yeah, so I'm doing a fundraiser for the Jet Foundation, which deals with Duchenne multiple sclerosis. We have a tribe member, Jordan Johnson, who suffers from Duchenne multiple sclerosis, and for those of you that don't know about it, it's a very degenerative disease. It brings, it brings kids. Basically, it shortens their lifespan. But there's a lot of information on my Facebook page that you can check out about Duchenne multiple sclerosis and the Jet Foundation. Essentially, what I decided to do was raise money to go towards the Jet Foundation by, doing a couple things. Just talking about it and making people aware of it. And I decided to use my Peloton since I'm stuck indoors. Peloton is like a stationary bike that has a screen on it. And, basically in order to benefit the Jet Foundation and Duchenne muscular dystrophy, I said muscular sclerosis, sorry, muscular dystrophy, my bad. In order to benefit that, I'm riding across the state of Washington, which is 360 miles. I'm about 64 miles in right now, so I got quite a ways to go, but doing a good job. The goal initially was $1,000, but we met that goal within the first 24 hours, so I bumped it up to $2,000, and we're almost there. We're about $200 shy there. So, I'm definitely riding every day. I'm tired. Yeah. But I'm losing weight, and it's for a great cause. So it's, I figured I'd use this idle time to do something good for, like I said, for the Jet Foundation and Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
Final thought for me, Coach, and I'll ask the question: why the state of Washington? Why not the state of Wyoming or Texas or something like that? Why Washington?
It's shorter.
Washington is my home state. So I thought I would start with that, and then if I have success raising money for Jet Foundation doing this, then I think the next state will probably be Wyoming.
I think you should do California. Go all the way from the beginning to the end, northern to southern.
Oh gosh,
you'd be a stud after that.
Oh man.
Hey, Breener,
I've lost a ton of weight, but like that, there'd be nothing left of me after that.
Hey, Breener, it was so good to catch up with you. We miss you out here, and we're glad that things are going well for you. And again, we'll keep our fingers crossed that this COVID-19 will eventually bypass and we can get back to some normal lifestyle and you can get back on the ice with your guys. And again, we want to thank you so much for joining us live from Connecticut this afternoon.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take care. We'll talk again soon.
Connecticut Chiefs hockey coach Neil Breen right here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for fun and style, then the new 2019 Kia Optima has what you need. And here at Kia of Cheyenne, we can help you own one. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Optima will reward your daily drive with comfort, performance, and advanced engineering. Kia Optima technology, your phone allows access to remote lock or unlock, climate control, 24-hour roadside assistance, and much more. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KeyofCheyenne.com. We'll make it easy.
College has been something that's always been on the back of my mind.
This is where I found what I wanted, one of my passions, what I really love to do.
In class, I feel more engaged.
The people here do care about you, and they want to help you succeed in life.
They make it so easy to be a parent and be able to still go to school.
I like the way I'm improving.
I love being, part of the LCCC family, and I'm glad I made this step in my life.
And welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk. Today is our pleasure to bring on our next guest, Western Nebraska Pioneers and Casper Horseheads baseball club owner, Chuck Heeman. Hey, Chuck, it is great to chat with you once again. Larry Perotti, Nick Perotti on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Kind of a different atmosphere as we talk to you as we've done in the last couple of years.
Yeah, a little bit. You can see I'm kind of talking from our house here in Nebraska. Everybody's working from home. We're doing the same, and yeah, at this point of the year, we're usually fired up about all the things that are going to happen in 6 weeks, and the players coming in, and the schedule, and rivalries, and all that stuff. And now there's a lot bigger issues to think about. Not just for us, but for everybody. Yeah, it's kind of a different vibe this year.
And I'm glad that you mentioned, in about 6 weeks. And again, we're all keeping our fingers crossed. Maybe at the end of this month, sometime, maybe mid-May. Don't know. That's the question mark. But the guys are going to eventually come out and play some summer baseball. We only can keep our fingers crossed on that. But I guess the question is to you, since they're not playing spring baseball across the U.S. right now, guys that you might be interested in coming to the Casper program as well as out to Gering, what kind of shape will they be in? Or is this going to be basically their college season playing for you guys?
Well, it's a combination of both. We follow all these guys on social media, and you see them doing their workouts and showing other people how to get their daily workouts in without having to, go out in groups of 10 or 20 guys. But there is a real concern there. You don't want to bring these guys in and just throw them on the field like we normally do. Normally, these guys have played, 50 games. They're off for a week, and they come into town, and they're in shape, and they got their legs under them, and they're ready to go. We can't do that. It's unsafe. So right now, we're looking at a couple of different things. And like you said, first part of May, we should really know where we stand as opposed to right now. It's looking pretty gloomy, and everybody knows that. There's no sugarcoating that. We're obviously still shooting for our May 26th start. The routing of this thing, I guess the curve of this thing is really going to determine that, and nobody knows right now. There's projections, everybody's making good and bad, and nobody really knows here on April 1st. So we've got a little bit of a luxury of time in that we can see how this is going to play out. Whether we do a late start, if the very worst scenario is we don't play at all, but none of us really see that happening. So let's say, for instance, we start, we get an all clear on X date. What our plan is, we want to bring all of our players in about a week before that. Position players don't need a lot of run-up time. It's the pitchers that we're worried about. They haven't thrown competitively, no matter how much they work out in their backyard. They haven't thrown competitively in 3-4 months. And they're going to go into a high-level college summer ball program where they're going to have to be 100%. So we want to bring these guys in where they've got some time to throw, maybe do some inter-squad games, at the ballpark, and have the fans come down and meet the players and kind of get to know them before we go. But again, all of that's really going to depend on when we get the all clear. We're not putting anybody in any situation that's unsafe just to play some baseball games. We will not do that to our staff, our fans, players, coaches, anybody. If it's not safe to go outside, we're not going outside. And to what level that is, nobody really knows at this point. If we're 90% clear, who knows? But we don't know where we're going to be. We're kind of fortunate here in this part of the country in that we don't have the massive population, centers that they do in New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, places like that. It's going to run through this part of the country. It just is, and everybody knows it. And you can see it's already starting to. But nobody really knows what it's going to look like, in 6-8 weeks. So right now, we're all planning on starting on May 26th. We're all very realistic about that as well. But right now, there's no reason to change the schedule until we know. And then with that, we want to get our players in as early as we can to get their legs back under them.
Chuck, are you going to treat, and you're talking to a former pitcher here, so I can relate to this. Are we looking at maybe if everything does develop the way it could, do we look at pitchers kind of going through a spring training process for a couple of weeks during the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's a coaching decision. But again, a guy hasn't thrown in 3 months, we're not going to put him out there for 8 innings. We're actually adding to our rosters where we were at 30, and now we're going to go to 33, but those 3 have to be pitchers. And a lot of that is for that reason, where, a guy will come in that was a college starter. Well, maybe the first couple of weeks, first 3 or 4 starts, he only goes, 3-4 innings. That's a coach's call. But we're not going to throw anybody out there, in a situation where they can get hurt. And these coaches know what they're doing with pitchers and position players. Again, position players, it's not going to take a lot of run-up time. It's the pitchers getting their arms back in competitive shape. That's the big concern.
So you talk about at least coaching staffs. We'll spotlight with Western Nebraska and Casper with the Horseheads programs. We're again looking at that May at least date line to hopefully get back on those fields at Mike Lansing Field and also to out there in Gering. But what's kind of the limitations, or how much is this hurting and hindering those coaches to get those players out to Casper, out to Western Nebraska to again possibly play for those? Basically, kind of commit to say, yes, I'll play for the Pioneers. Yes, I'll play for the Horseheads. What's kind of the limitations? What is all this situation doing right now for your baseball clubs to get players out there?
Well, we're all fortunate in that our roster was pretty well recruited last fall. So we're all full right now. We're actually turning away, all of us are in the Expedition League, I'm sure in other summer leagues too. We're turning away a lot of guys right now, guys that got the extra year of eligibility that didn't think they were going to play this summer. Now they can. So we're turning away a lot of guys. Now the factor in this, again, is going to go back to the safety part of it. Maybe we're fine in Gering, Nebraska, but we've got players coming in from all over the country. We've got interns coming in from all over the country. How safe it is it from where they're coming from? So that's a factor of it too. Host families are going to be concerned about who's coming to my house and how safe is that guy, at whatever our start date is. And that all factors into when we're going to start. So as far as the players, we've had nobody back out, nobody at all. And we're turning away people that want to play for us. which is a great situation for us, not so much for them because they won't find a place to play. But again, the roster's been set for a long time now. We're obviously making some tweaks as needed, but it's all going to come down to the safety factor, where these guys are coming from. If we got guys coming in from, if we were playing today, if we had guys coming in from New York State, well, we're not going to have them come in. So we're having extra players just for that. So it's all a big puzzle. Where I don't have all the answers today on April 1st, but we're all working through it.
It's interesting. I was going to say it's interesting, Nick. He's talking about safety first. I'd be thinking how much how much more I'd have to put in the freezer and the refrigerator for these guys.
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
We have to look at all that. What kind of crowds are we going to be looking at the beginning when people were just kind of poking their head back out? So we're not going to have ball games just to have a ball game and have 20 people there and not enjoy it. It's all a piece of the puzzle that we're all working through.
For you, Chuck, again, we'll go on more of a personal level, and again, not to be kind of selfish on yourself, but during this situation,
it's all about me.
Well, again, we're going to make it all about you without a doubt.
It's actually all about Myra. So
fair enough, Chuck, on this one. So again, directed to you though, as an owner of 2 baseball clubs here in the state of Wyoming, or at least one in Casper and over there in Gary, Nebraska, being a part of this. What's kind of the biggest fear or concern for yourself, whether it is financials, whether it is, staffs not being able to come on out, internships, again, staffs at, maybe a part-time job for either of those clubs. Just kind of talk us through what are your concerns if we don't have Expedition League baseball this year.
Well, number one, again, everything is dictated by safety. You're right. I'm not going to have, that's our number one concern. Are we safe to play? And then if we are, great. Whether it's a late start, whether it's a start on time, great. But yeah, as far as Myra and I go, obviously, as any small business owner, financials are a big problem. We've committed a lot of money to this year. In Casper, we've committed a lot of money to the All-Star game. That's already spent and already out there. How is that going to work? If worst case scenario we don't play, that's going to carry over to 2021. But again, there's money to be spent, even if you're keeping offices open or the phones on or staff in place. There's overhead that doesn't go away if you don't play. Even if you don't play, you don't have game day staff. You're not buying beer to sell beer, things like that, and that's fine. But you've still got overhead that you've got to cover, and so that's a big concern. And again, it's not just us; it's any small business owner. A coffee shop. If your coffee shop closes, they're not Microsoft. They don't have piles of cash to just wait it out. They have to lay off people and suffer through it. And some of these places are just not going to reopen at all. And we already know that. We've seen it in Casper and here. Some of these small businesses that have had to close up, they're not going to be able to withstand that. We are, we'll make it work. We'll find a way. Whether I go out and get a job and I go sell blood on the corner, whatever it takes, we will make it work so that if it does get canceled, we'll be back in 2021. I don't see that happening at this point. Again, you never know. But obviously, we spend a lot of time talking through all these scenarios. But as a small business owner, if we can't play financially, it hurts a lot. And these players, it's going to hurt them because they don't have any game tape or stats to show a D1 school. Our interns are going to lose that opportunity to build their resumes and go on to do something in this business. Our game day staff, they're going to lose out on those, those few dollars they make during the season working in the concession stand. There's a lot of people that are going to lose a lot if we don't play. So as far as Myra and I go, we'll survive it and we'll be back strong. But there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that we have to consider.
As we kind of spotlight local businesses, and again, we've done that here in Cheyenne of saying, hey, support
Absolutely.
Local, shop local. Here's what these businesses are offering to kind of keep those lights on. Where again, you talk about businesses get affected, and even here with KRAE, KYY, again, Pops across the way will attest to that. We're feeling the kind of financial stress right now with the situation. But for your teams, Chuck, right now, April 1st, 2020. Whether we have a season, whether we don't, whether it's a partial season, whatever it may be, though, are there ways for folks to support Casper Western Nebraska, the Expedition League in a whole, whether it is buying merchandise, pre-buying possible season tickets. I mean, what are the ways that folks who are a little bit more fortunate on the financial side that want to help local teams, local athletes can do right now to kind of help out those teams?
Well, and I think, like you said,
possibly have a bad connection right now with Chuck.
Buy tickets. If for some reason our game that you buy the ticket for doesn't get played, if for some reason you buy a ticket for the July 22nd exhibition game against the Legion program, it's a fundraiser for the Legion. Well, if for some reason that game doesn't get played, we'll carry it over to 2021. Sponsors will want to put their name on something if we don't play, same thing. The All-Star game in Casper, you can buy tickets for the All-Star game right now. And again, if for some reason, if we play this season, the All-Star game is not going to change. It's going to be played. If for some reason we don't play this year, we'll play it in 2021. Tickets will be good. All the money you spent will be good for that. We're not going to go away. So there are ways to support merchandise. Both of our teams have online stores. Get yourself one of these fancy Casper Horseheads flag hats or a Pioneers T-shirt. I had to represent both today. And that will help. It's not gonna pay all the bills, but every little bit helps. If you're a supporter of the team, go to our websites. You can buy merchandise there. We'll ship it out to you. You don't have to get out of your house to do it. Same thing with tickets. Tickets are on sale for some of our events now. Again, if the game gets postponed or not played, it's just like a rainout. Your tickets will be good for another day. So there are ways to do that, and I appreciate you bringing that up.
We're talking with Western Nebraska Pioneers and Casper Horsehead Baseball Club owner Chuck Heeman here on Wyoming Sports Talk today, a good friend of ours. Chuck, real quick, let's get into postseason after the last campaign with both Casper and with Gering. I'm sure you had a chance to sit down with both of the cities and address needs, or maybe they had some issues with you that they wanted to address. And I remember sitting down chatting with you right there in July when we were talking about we could have used a tarp out here in Gering. So did you get some of those issues addressed with those cities? So you could protect your ball clubs and get games in. So because we know Mother Nature usually has the upper hand in this part of the world.
Yeah, and it's the one thing you can't control in this whole business. So and I'm really glad you brought up the tarp part of it, because here in Gering, we have a group called Next Young Professionals. It's a group of business people that get together and do good for the community. They're actually buying a tarp for Oregon Trail Park.
Yeah, do apologize for the connection. I get it is out there in Gering, Nebraska, so hopefully we'll get
20% of our total income last year, and we're not the kind of business that has that kind of margin. So that hurt, and then this current thing isn't helping any either. So we're getting a tarp in Gering. We're working on that in Casper. I know the city of Gering is also more than likely going to bring in an extra set of bleachers that'll give us 200 more seats. We could have used those last year on these sellouts. We'd have sold them in a minute. So both cities have been very good about working with us on making plans, not only for what's going on now, but kind of based on some of the things that we saw last year. I think the tarp is really going to help us a lot, and so I'm glad you brought that up.
You look at, and of course you and Nick have been going back and forth. We talk about John Q. Public coming out to the ball games, but as you and I discussed out there too, you have some great business relationships in both cities, Casper as well as Gering, and obviously we went to the Gering contest, and again quite a few of the folks I knew as well. So again, how is that still stabilized as we look ahead towards this season? Did you actually get more business partners to come on board with this expanding league?
That's a good question. In both markets, yeah, we actually did. We've increased our corporate partnership quite a bit in Casper. We actually we moved our daughter and our son-in-law up there from Phoenix with their kids, and they're kind of the boots on the ground people in Casper. They've been there since October, and I really feel like this is the year that we really catch hold in Casper. I think the last part of last year was really good. Once summer hit, it rained every day in the first part of the season, but in the second half, once summer hit, we really saw some good crowds, so I really felt good about it. Now having them on board full time so that Myra and I can break away and move back and forth has really helped. So we've got some really good new partnerships there. And same in Gehring. Heidi Bruns, our assistant GM here, has really worked in the offseason to get involved some of the people that weren't involved before. And so that's really uptrending right now. Obviously, with this going on right now, it's kind of, everybody's on board.
He'll be back.
That have been kind of waiting to come through will do that. But we're really on the upswing in both markets and really happy about that.
As Chuck is probably using satellite internet out there in Gehring, Nebraska. Again, bear with us on the technical issues out there, but
no worries.
Chuck, real quick, we chatted with the Prez here not too long ago on Wyoming Sports Talk today. I know he was down here in Cheyenne. Expansion and the league it's taken off, and again we don't really need this COVID-19 to slow things down, but the league is taken off. It's being accepted. Franchises that are in the offing, cities that you can see coming up in the near future.
Well, that's a Steve question, so I can't really tell you what Steve's got in mind. You probably know as much as I do. I know he's talked to the folks in Cheyenne. Man, it'd be a great addition for us as a league, and it would fit our footprint very well. I know he's talking to some towns in Montana. That's pretty well documented. Laramie is pretty well documented. Really, anybody that's appropriate to host one of these things. You've got to look at stadium. You've got to look at market size, economics, things like that. Steve, I don't know where he gets his energy, but he's on the go all the time to make this thing happen, and so I know he's got a lot in the hopper. We added Sioux Falls this year, which is it's the biggest market in the league, and so I can see us. Steve wants to go to 30 teams in 5 years, and he's got a plan to do that. Whether that happens that way, who really knows? But I know expansion is always going to help us, and it helps us as a league, because if you can get, for instance, let's say we got Cheyenne, Laramie, Sheridan, Gillette, for instance, in our league, that helps us in Nebraska and Casper with our travel. We don't have to travel to Sioux Falls or Canada or wherever to get 64 games in and not have the same teams playing. So strategic expansion in any league, not just our league, is key. And I know Steve's been working really hard on that.
Well, Chuck, it has been our pleasure to chat with you today, and I know
I really appreciate this, guys.
I speak on behalf of my son. We can hardly wait to get a chance to come up there to Gehring again, sit down, grab a soda pop and some peanuts, and watch some great baseball.
You guys weren't drinking soda pop when you were up there.
I had that big Coca-Cola.
Don't fool the people.
Again, this is not going over air, so we can on YouTube and Periscope. Yeah, we were having a few drinks. Again, we're not on the clock. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're looking forward to play ball. That's what I'm looking forward to.
No kidding. Same here. That's the best part about it, and seeing the people out having fun. Yep.
All righty, Chuck. Well, you take care, and we'll catch up with you as soon as they say play ball.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time, guys.
All righty. Chuck Heeman, our very special guest, the Western Nebraska Pioneers Club owner, along with the Casper Horseheads Club owner, joined us here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We're going to take a timeout, and we'll be back in just a little bit.
If you're looking for fun and adventure, Kia of Cheyenne is the place to start, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will help you find it. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will give you what you need to make things happen. This vehicle has plenty of power, all-season traction, safety features, technology, and comfort for any road you're on. The Kia Sorento offers plenty of standard features for the money, and we're all about saving you money. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
College. It's filled with classrooms, instructors, and exams. But beyond that, it's filled with curiosity, budding friendships, and insightful conversations, and so many opportunities. There will be people like you, and you, and you. You'll work, you'll play, you'll struggle, and you'll succeed. But when you allow yourself to pursue your dreams, you'll learn what you're truly made of.
And we welcome you back to Wyoming Sports Talk today again on YouTube as well as Periscope via Twitter. I got to get used to that because we're so much on the radio side. But our new board that we have, and I got another one that'll be coming up here soon.
Air quotes new.
But what I'm saying is, with the board, it's not both radio / technological enhanced, because that's an older model that we have. But hopefully we'll get this over. I'm expecting within the next couple of weeks we should be able to be back up and running both on the radio as well as on the visual side as well.
Either way, we're visual no matter what.
Today
on Periscope, via Twitter, again at Nick Wild Sports, 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. Again, like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Again, completely free just to help us out. Again, and that's all we're asking for you to do is just those simple tasks on both. Again, the Twitter side, 1480 KRAE, the YouTube side.
Give us a like on Facebook, too.
On Facebook as well, too. Just simply search for 1480 KRAE, Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Again, simple enough like that just to give us, again, a like, a follow. All that easy stuff, again, is completely free. So appreciate it either way. Again, thank you to Chuck Heeman, owner of the Casper Horseheads, and also to Western Nebraska Pioneers baseball clubs of the Expedition League out here in the Rocky Mountain region, or at least in the Great Plains, as, again, teams here in the state of Wyoming, Nebraska, all the way up to, as he mentioned, Canada. So a team, or at least a league that is expanding, and also before Chuck, again, appreciate head coach Neil Breen of the at least Connecticut Chiefs, former Cheyenne Stampede head coach. Again, as a Stampede, as unfortunately as we always bring that up, again, no longer exists here in the town. But again, appreciate both of them. Thank you for everyone tuning in to kind of bear with us, as it was our first time Skype interviews with them as we're trying out some new.
Well, you're seeing it. I'm not seeing it on this side.
Well, you don't need to see it. I have all the technical side on
my end.
I
could do it. I can't bring it up.
As we, or at least me, I should say, try to expand, enhance the show in every which way we can. Again, right now, as we can't have that human or social, at least, connection with folks. Again, phone calls, video calls. Again, that's kind of the best way we can do it.
And I miss that too. I really hope we get this all clear. I understand that. We could be heading towards the peak of this, or we could be kind of, getting little blips on the radar here and there, but nobody knows how bad this is. Again, there's estimates out there that this thing could peak out at over 100,000 deaths, and I hope it doesn't. I don't know about you, but I'm getting that stir crazy. I want to get outside. I want to play baseball.
You can go outside. There's nothing, at least preventing you.
Yeah, but you can't get on any fields.
Well, again, you just have to avoid people out there. Again, you could go out to the park and stuff. Again, how many people did we see out by the local park?
I understand that, but you can't get on the baseball fields right now. I think there was more than 10
a crowd out there where, again, the social distancing out here in this part of the world is not the greatest, but it is. But again, you could still go outside. It is a scenario that we see the folks like what Coach Breen is doing, where again he's on his stationary bike pedaling across the state of at least Washington, where again he can see he can see that visual landscape of Washington thanks to Google Maps. Again, you can still go outside, still be active in a way. We've seen, I think, even local teams here in town have been able to kind of construct, whether it is go play basketball at a makeshift a bot hoop, or again make a batting cage some way somehow in their garage. Again, we've seen people
you can do stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I was talking to my good friend George over at Rock on Wheels. I'm already looking at a bike. I got to get a bike because this has been way too long of a winter, and you know it too, Nick. We're at home. I know you're out trying to do some running right now, but it's like I'm just tired of being cooped up. I'm ready to, it's springtime. It's April.
How much of sports reruns can you take at this point in time? Where again,
I'm watching Ken Burns baseball all over again, Nick.
Yeah, but again, how many times have you seen that at this point? It's
16.
Yeah, at this point,
once
in time,
a year I've been watching
it. With ESPN, where they're showing, whether it is old March Madness highlights or games, or again they've shown every once in a while a couple WrestleManias here and there. Again, all it is stuff that you've already potentially seen, or stuff that's already been around, that's already kind of been refed on the various channels.
Reruns.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, how much can you take of it? Again, my limits are very small, where I just don't really care. I'm not watching reruns. Pretty much, it's looking to the future, or you kind of bring up those what if scenarios, like the reason why I decided to do that virtual March Madness live stream of, hey, doesn't mean that we can't see what the computer would think is going to be the national champion, have a little fun with it. And again, it's something unique, something fun, something you haven't seen as well too. So again, that's what I've been more interested in seeing, as folks around the world, around this country, even here in the state of Wyoming, of what they've been able to do to kind of not rehash old stuff, but instead create something new, unique, have an interesting opportunity, again, to get folks in, to tune in, to, again, get a break from the madness that is kind of in the world right now.
All right, we're ready for hour number 2 here of Wyoming Sports Talk today, and it's being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, just go to the drive-thru, as they have for drive-thrus over on the South Greeley Highway, downtown on KRAE Avenue, corner of Pershing and Ridge, corner of Del Range and Ridge, and on Yellowstone Road. Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way, and talk with our good friends. And again, if you have to shop, you can shop online. Just go to Key of Cheyenne, and you'll see the vehicle that you want for 2020, and talk with our good friends AJ and the crew over at Key of Cheyenne on Nation Way. Platte Valley Bank ×2, again, use the convenient drive-thrus on the corner of College and Pershing on the east side, and the original location on Vandehigh. Chick-fil-A with 2 convenient drive-thrus and curbside for you. And again, check out, they do deliver. And again, they'll set up for your parties. So if you're having you and me,
what party?
If you and me want to get a little party going, they'll bring the stuff by.
Granted, this state did get an F in social distancing, so I wouldn't doubt there are still parties.
All right. Well, anyway, Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Del Range, right across from Powers Field and Menards. And again, don't forget to use their 2 convenient drive-thrus. Also, too, we want to thank Medicat Pharmacy, where I went inside, got my meds the other day. You can use their convenient drive-thru. Oh, by the way, they are located, same location, right next door to Texas Roadhouse on Bluegrass Circle. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. Bruce and the crew, they're there. So again, if you need an appliance, GE, Frigidaire, Maytag, Whirlpool, they're there for you. So again, or if you want to give them a call B&B Appliance and TV. Lennox Auto Body over on Dunn Avenue, the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. To set up your appointment, just give them a call at 634-6608. First Tier Bank at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, open Monday through Friday. If you need to get inside and talk with one of the loan officers, or my good buddy, the Vice President, Tad over there, hey, call at 632-3500 and set up an appointment time to visit with them. And Mondello's Pizzeria is right across the street at 1507 Stillwater Avenue. Joe's been doing this now for his 5th decade. And again, bringing us delicious Paisan cuisine. Hey, they got the little window there, so guess what? They're doing takeout, and you can enjoy delicious Paisan cuisine, whether it's their pizza, their delicious sandwiches, their stromboli, all kinds of good eats and treats, always at Mondello's Pizzeria, open 7 days a week, Sundays noon until 8, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. And when we eventually get back to our scoreboard, we want to thank Will and the crew over at Pepsi of Cheyenne. They've been our scoreboard sponsor for many, many years. Right now, the scoreboard, it's not broken. The lights are just turned off for now.
Well, the only scoreboard of at least interest to us is, again, the 1480 KRAE Virtual March Madness live stream happening again. Will be happening this weekend, time and day, whether it's going to happen Saturday, whether we'll have the national championship on Monday. Again, still to be determined. A little important thing on my end and also to you across the way, again, a little WrestleMania, as they've decided to split that up into 2 days now. So, again, kind of interested to watch that as well, but also to manage of how we set up the Final Four and also to that national championship game. Again, the Virtual March Madness happening on Periscope, which you're watching right now. Again, at Nick Wiles Sports in the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. And appreciate all the thousands of you that have tuned in for both those streams, whether it is, again, all the way from the round of 64 to now as we approach the Final Four. Sizing up the Final Four, if those have not tuned in or, again, curious of where we're at out of the Midwest and out of the East, you will have the matchup of the 2-seed Kentucky, the Wildcats, taking on number 4 seed Maryland, the Terrapins. That's one Final Four matchup. And then also 2 out of the West and South brackets. Michigan, number 5 seed, the Wolverines. They'll be taking on number 11 Cincinnati, the Bearcats, in our Virtual March Madness. Again, those who move on, again, will face each other for the 2020 Virtual March Madness National Championship. So looking forward to it. Again, that's happening this weekend. Stay tuned on the social media sides. Again, Twitter, Facebook, all that fun stuff of where to find at least the streams, how to tune in for them when they're happening, all that fun stuff, again, on the various social media sites. Twitter, at Nick Wiles Sports, 1480 KRAE Facebook page, Wyoming Sports Talk Today's Facebook page. Speaking as well of the Facebook pages for KRAE and also to our sister station, KYY-FM, posted a little thing on at least on my Twitter account that, again, we will have daily updates regarding local businesses that are still still offering services, like, for instance, as we mentioned, B&B Appliance,
the Bread Basket Bakery,
a Little Philly as well, too. Again, we do daily updates of local businesses here in the state, at least here in the city of Cheyenne.
And posting their phone numbers, too.
Yeah, without a doubt, of how you can help out the local businesses here in town and to kind of help them through these kind of troubling times.
All right, well, we're going to take a very short timeout. We're going to come back and talk with yet another good friend. He is now the new head coach of the LCCC Golden Eagles basketball program, DeWayne Saulsberry, up next right here on Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Larry Proetti along with Nick Proetti, and our very special guest again is DeWayne Saulsberry, the new head coach. at Laramie County Community College men's basketball program. And again, the name sounds familiar. Yes, he's been on the bench as an assistant coach for the past 13 campaigns, now the head man. DeWayne, first and foremost, congratulations on the new position. I know it's kind of a bittersweet move to the head position, but nonetheless, you're the man in charge for the next season.
I am. Thanks, Nick. Nick and Larry. Thank both of you guys. Yes, it's a little bittersweet, but I'm definitely ready and excited to get going.
You know, you and Jason shared that office for many, many years, and now obviously your office as you embark on finding an assistant. And I guess we'll ask you that question right out of the box. Looking for the man to sit next to you, how or lady. I don't know how that's coming about, but where are you at with that, Coach?
Just like everything else right now is a little slow because of, you just can't, no one can come on campus and, you can't really, no one can really leave their homes right now. So it's a little slow. I'm close to knowing somebody down and a guy who's already kind of said he'd like to do it. So don't really want to throw his name out there until it's official, but I think I got somebody on the radar and I think he's ready to go.
Coach, let's talk about the at least process where you are now the interim head coach at LCCC for the men's basketball program, where, again, that was announced by at least Dr. Cindy Henning in our conversation with her, at least her here on the show. Again, it is for 1 year, and then they will assess the position or at least do a national hiring search after the 2020-2021 campaign for LCCC. But, when you got that notification that head coach, or at least former head coach Jason Ficca, was on the exit of LCCC and you were in position to be the new interim head coach, again, without going into kind of dirty personal details or anything like that, Coach, but just talk about that process and also to your thought process of, again, going that day of learning that you were now the new interim head coach.
Just everything has been moving really, really fast. So, I hadn't really had time to slow down. You're trying to get players in here right now, trying to recruit players. And, also, can't bring those guys on campus and can't go see them. So it's a tough process right now. Just nothing. I haven't really slowed down to think about it, really. I know that I'm ready to take on the position, and I'm excited to take on the position. As far as, when I found out, I got the call and, it was shocking a little bit. And, when things like that happen, but, you got to pick it up and move on and get to work.
Both you and Jason, have picked up a lot of contacts in your years together. So obviously those contacts are still in play for you now as the head coach. So again, have you been able to, work the phones, Coach, and start calling these contacts and saying, "Hey, look, here's what's going on, and I need this," or do you have some film to send me on some of these players?
Yeah, that part of it hasn't changed that much for me. I'm still calling the same people, meeting some new people, of course. Everybody's recruiting. Everybody in the country's recruiting right now is definitely changed. You're relying a lot more on your AAU coaches, and you have to believe what they are telling you about these kids are true. You can't actually get out there and see them. So yeah, it's just been a busy process, but a fun process.
Coach, and I'm not knocking the position as being an assistant coach, because you and Jason worked so close together for all the years. And again, all my conversations that I've had with both you and Jason. But now that you scratch off the assistant part and you put head coach, how much more, how much more notice do you get from kids from around the country now that might want to, expand their ball playing by coming to Cheyenne?
That's been amazing. I've gotten so many phone calls from kids saying, "Hey, I'd like to play for you," or AAU coaches saying, "Hey, I'd like to work with you." So that part it's just been phenomenal. How many people have reached out, and, done those things and made those contacts. It's just, it's been really, really fast moving, Larry. you can't imagine. I can't tell you how many phone calls that I've gotten. I bet you I get 45, 50 phone calls a day. That's it's moving pretty fast.
So, Coach, as again, you were in this new position again, we'll be in there for at least interim as 1 year. Again, for the 2020-2021 season, you do have a lot of freshmen returning potentially to the program. As we saw, again, only a few sophomores graduated and moving on to that next level. But have you been able to, again, with the COVID-19 situation and not be able to, again, see them in person or bring them out there to the gym, out to LCCC, have you been able to contact those freshmen individually, talk with them and inform them on where the program's at and what's kind of the future direction of LCCC basketball?
Definitely. I've reached out to every one of the guys, but a lot of the guys reached out before I had the chance to reach out once they heard the news. And it's just all, we're kind of learning as we go right now as far as what to do. Can't get out to the gym, can't get out to the gym, can't work out, that kind of stuff. So it's just everyone's told me, the guys that we are bringing back, they've all told me they're ready to go, and I'm ready to coach them. And so we're excited to get going.
Coach, what does that look like right now, again, as we adapt every day and try to figure out, again, it's life living day by day as we are constantly updated with new alerts or updates on the situation around here in the nation along with the world. But, as we look at those athletes, trying to keep them healthy, in shape, where they can't go out and shoot at LCCC's gym or go to the local gym, or at least gym to work out. Have you kind of put into place a system or at least recommendations for them to keep them a little active or at least keep them in that athletic kind of nature throughout this time?
Well, right now, what we've tried to get with our guys, there's a couple of apps online that we're trying to get access to have some home workouts. Obviously, they won't be able to shoot unless they have maybe a basket out in their backyard or something of that nature. But just trying to do a lot of workouts at home, push-ups, setups, whatever they can do. Some of the guys said they have some weights at home, so just anything we can do right now, just to stay active, keep our minds active, stay as positive as we can.
Coach, when you had the opportunity to run the squad while Jason was tending to family business towards the end of the season, obviously we're running Jason Ficka's team and, Jason and DeWayne's team. Well, DeWayne's team in 2020, 2021, what can we expect if there's going to be any changes to the style of play?
I think you'll see a big difference in the style of play. Jason was definitely more offensive minded. Next year, what you're going to see is a team that's really built on defense and toughness. That's our base. That's what we're going to always fall back to, is defense and toughness. That's the only things, Larry, that you can take with you, and you can make sure that that comes to play every single game. So you can't always depend on making jump shots. You can't always depend on your offense clicking. You should be able to depend on the way that you play defense. That's just an effort thing. So what you're going to see is a change in just the effort and the attitude of the guys.
Well,
when you talk about the defensive part of it.
Well, and that will bring up the next question. And again, we've had this conversation with just about every coach: bigger, stronger, and faster. And obviously where we do lack was the strength underneath the boards for the last 3 seasons that I've been, last couple of seasons, we've been a little weak underneath the boards there. So is that your first goal, looking for that big cat that's got that Shaq type of body?
Yes, I mean that's every college coach in the country. That's their goal, is go out and get that big guy. So yeah, you got to go out and find someone who can control the middle. I like our bigs that we have coming back. They just, they were really, really working hard before all this happened with the virus and everything. But so they were really in the weight room and things like that. So I do like Ash and some of the guys that we do have coming back. It's got to get bigger, stronger. Got to get some more reps. I mean, everything is reps. You take a lot of these guys as freshmen and coming out of high school, and you don't really know. You see film and things like that. You see them play in some exposure camps, but you don't really know what they really have until they get here, and you don't really have a whole lot of time to work with them. So, we were really looking forward to working with some of the bigs that we already have, getting them in the gym, and then this happens, and that kind of puts a hold on everything. But definitely got to recruit a big guy. Got to get some more athleticism, some things like that, and we're working on it. We'll get it done.
Talk about recruiting out here to Cheyenne over at LCCC, being a part of Region 9 basketball for the North and South. But, again, this is not your first rodeo, Coach, where, again, you've been an assistant under head coach Jason Ficka. You've seen what it takes to get recruits out here to Cheyenne to compete here at Region 9 basketball. But is it a hindrance trying to get folks out here to Cheyenne, Wyoming, as you've seen for the past 13 seasons as an assistant, or is it a little easier, especially with the kind of resurgence or at least the elevation of Region 9 basketball with the likes of Casper's, with Sheridan, with Western Wyoming, that kind of puts this region, this state on the map across the nation in JUCO basketball? What's kind of your thoughts on recruiting some of those top-level talent out here, especially to LCCC?
Everything's about relationships. So, as long as you have good relationships, you have good contacts that trust you, that when, they send you a kid or help you get a kid, that you're going to take care of those kids the best way you can. You're going to make sure that they go to class and do the things that they're supposed to do, so they can get out of here. Definitely with Casper, Sheridan, the last couple of years, Western Nebraska the last couple of years been really good. It definitely helps when teams like that are in your conference. You can sell kids on. You're going to be playing some of the top talent, some of the top teams in the country. So that definitely helps. And then we have a great sales pitch ourselves. I mean, we have a great town. We have a great junior college basketball town. Cheyenne, Wyoming's not a bad town at all for junior college basketball. And when you look around the country and you see where some of these places are at, Cheyenne's pretty good. How close we are to Denver also helps sell us on kids, and is a good sales point for kids. And we have a good college who helps us take care of these guys. So we have some good stuff that kids really, really love to come see, and just the opportunity to play college basketball for some of these kids, that's enough. Some of these guys don't really care where they are as long as they get the opportunity to compete.
And
that's a good point, though. At least it's Cheyenne, Wyoming. We're not in Trinidad, Colorado. Nothing against Trinidad State, but either way.
But also, too, Coach, you and Jason, through the years, you've moved a lot of kids out of LCCC onto some very successful programs. But that'd be one of my questions, too, because I've noticed that through the years that we've been able to be with LCCC, we noticed that, a lot of these teams are keeping those youngsters the 2 years, the freshman, sophomore years. Sometimes when the bigs are calling, and I think of Zaire, Mateen, and most recently Tyrus Patoma, along with David Appelgren. We only had them for their freshman seasons, but nobody's faulting them for moving on to bigger and better things. But I mean, when you're looking for that young man to come and play basketball for you, are you hoping to get that 2 years out of him? Do you think they need the 2 years at LCCC before they move on to that next level?
I think it just depends on the kid. We've had some kids that have, came here for 1 year, went on to a Division I school and has done really well. We've had a lot of kids, though, that have came here for 1 year, went on to that Division I school and has struggled a little bit. So, I think it just depends on the kid and the program that they're going to. Did they choose wisely? Sometimes kids will leave because it's, bigger and better, and don't understand that, you don't quite fit in that system. So, you always want a kid to stay for 2. You definitely want to bring those guys back as their sophomores. But, they've earned the right with the grades that they made in high school to move on. So you're not going to, we've done a great job of not trying to stand in their way, give those guys the freedom to choose. But definitely, you definitely want those guys back older, more mature, stronger, all that stuff that helps you the next year. I think that's what I really like about the upcoming year is that, some of these guys will be back that played a lot of basketball for us this year, and next year there's not that learning curve is not as steep. So yeah, definitely, we definitely want those kids back.
Final thought, and we said goodbye to 3 sophomores this year, and again, not much that they can do here except try to sell themselves to that next level. Do you feel Kyle Cabs, along with Courtney Dean and Mateo Zovko, will they move on to that next level?
There's no question. All 3 of those guys, if they want to move on, will move on. And that's the one thing that we have done here in the past, 13 years is we have moved guys on to the next level better than any school in the country. I'd put that up against anybody. So, yeah, I mean, I think all those guys are probably Division II guys. Mateo, maybe if the situation's right, could sneak into that low Division I kind of team. But I think they're all solid Division II guys. But they run into the same problems that everybody else is running into right now. They can't go they can't go work out for a team. So everything right now is going to have to be on film and word of mouth, and me calling around selling these guys, which is something that I'm more than happy to do.
Well, Coach, gosh, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but I'm really missing our bus trips now. I wish we were going somewhere to play some basketball so we could just sit down and chat for a while. But I'm looking forward to working with you the upcoming season.
And he's also talking about Powell as well too. Some of those, at least road trips. That took forever.
No.
Oh, you don't want to go to Powell?
Hey, now that he's the head coach, we got a place where we can always stop in Casper, don't we? There.
Oh yes, we do.
Yeah, we'll definitely. And if it's just you and me, we'll do that. But anyway, Coach, I'm looking so forward to working with you in the upcoming season. Let's keep our fingers crossed that the COVID-19 will run its course here very quickly, and we all can get back to normal. I know you want to get your your boots on the ground right now and get back to work. So again, we wish you all the best. Congratulations, and we look forward to be chatting with you quite a bit.
Hey, thank you guys, and thanks for having me on.
All right, DeWayne Saulsberry, head coach at LCCC, the Golden Eagles' new basketball coach, joining us here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Take a time out. We'll come back with our final guest after these words.
If you're looking for fun and adventure, Kia of Cheyenne is the place to start, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will help you find it. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will give you what you need to make things happen. This vehicle has plenty of power, all-season traction, safety features, technology, and comfort for any road you're on. The Kia Sorento offers plenty of standard features for the money, and we're all about saving you money. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
College. It's filled with classrooms, instructors, and exams. But beyond that, it's filled with curiosity, budding friendships, insightful conversations, and so many opportunities. There will be people like you, and you, and you. You'll work, you'll play, you'll struggle, and you'll succeed. But when you allow yourself to pursue your dreams, you'll learn what you're truly made of.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk. Today we bring on our final guest. He is the athletic director at the University of Wyoming, longtime friend Tom Burman, Larry Perotti, Nick Perotti. And Tom, good to have you on the program. But boy, I'll tell you what, at our ages, and obviously I'm a little older than you, Tom, but once we think we've seen it all, and then something like this comes about, it has to be such a different atmosphere right now over in Laramie.
Yeah, first off, I apologize. I don't hear you guys really well, but I think I heard the gist of that question, which was the impacts and how unique a situation we're in right now and how it's impacting us over here at the university. And yes, I was never prepared for this. It's not like you could have predicted this, and it's a crazy time, but we're going to get through it because that's the way we do things. We got to grind through it. We got to find a way to survive, and we've got to have a football season. And that's really what this whole thing comes down to. I beg people in Wyoming to stay inside, follow the guidelines. We got to do everything we can to stay as healthy as we can so we don't have a late rush on the coronavirus in the state of Wyoming and we're not playing football.
Tom, you're like me. I'm a business owner, and you basically are the manager of the sports business over at the University of Wyoming. I mean, tell us, and again, you could probably speak for all athletic directors across the country. I mean, tell our audience what the lack of sports is doing for all of our institutions right now. I mean, again, some of these institutions make big dollars during this time of year.
Right. Well, I mean, just start off with the canceling of the basketball tournament. You think about, all right, we're canceling the basketball tournament. There's over 1,000 NCAA schools, Division I, II, and III, and Wyoming gets about $1.7 million, 1.6 and some change from the NCAA. And all of that money, almost all of it, 90-some%, is driven by the NCAA men's basketball ticket revenue and television rights. You got to remember, football is not managed by the NCAA. Football is managed by the conferences. The College Football Playoff is managed by the Collegiate Conference Commissioners Association. So it's two different pots of money, but the NCAA is run off basketball revenue almost exclusively. There's a little bit of revenue from baseball. There's a little bit of revenue from wrestling, and that's it. All 37 sports are negative. They're all costly. So when you cancel the one revenue stream that really drives the engine, it has a huge impact on all of us. So we are going to get about 550,000 of the 1.6 million we project.
So, Tom, at least if you were able to get that full monies again, what would have that money gone to there at UW, or at least the athletic department? If you got that full TV revenue, if March Madness was still happening, what would be that kind of, at least that funds going towards there at the University of Wyoming?
Yeah, I mean, it goes right into our budget. So our budget, we spend about $42 million a year, and we budget as a revenue stream NCAA income, $1.6 million. And so that money is basically gone. So we are going to have to we have no reserve in athletics. So we will go to the Board of Trustees this spring and ask them for help because otherwise we're going to be $1 million short at the end of the fiscal year. And I am hopeful that they will help us because if not, we will have to cut $1 million out of our budget starting July 1, plus anything that's forecasted shortfall this year, which, as you guys know, corporate sponsorships, advertising, donations, ticket revenue, merchandising, special events, auctions, golf tournaments, all the stuff we do in the summertime, that also is going to be decreased or eliminated. So it's a scary proposition, but if we have football, we can get through this.
Well, and also, too, on top of that, bad news for you, Tom, something that came out about a couple weeks ago regarding the state legislator, that a big bill that was denied, again, whether it was funding to JUCOs for around the state of Wyoming, but also to one big piece that was on your radar in that legislation that failed was that at least regulation-sized swimming pool for the University of Wyoming for your at least swimming athletes. What's kind of the process now? Is that something that you just bring that back forth to the legislator at a later date, or is this something that now UW has to find funds to now get that swimming pool up to code and regulation?
That's a question right now I couldn't answer. If we were in a normal economic time, I would say we're going to go back to the legislature and try to get those projects done because the pool, at some point, if we don't do it, we have to drop the sport. And it's men's and women's, and it's complicated because that would put us below the NCAA minimum, so we'd have to add a sport back, and that is just is an interesting dilemma. It would have to be a female sport. What do you add back? Swimming fits Wyoming. It's indoors. We're competed in most of our high schools, so it makes sense. But with the current economic situation, and when I say the current, I'm talking about the coronavirus recession, that's how I describe it, and the crash in the oil prices. But those are two projects. I mean, the pool has been on the list for 10 years, so it's forever.
We're talking with the University of Wyoming Athletic Director Tom Burman. Tom, one big help to the athletic programs and kind of like, and I hope I'm saying this right, kind of like the right arm to you is the Cowboy Joe Club at the University of Wyoming. And again, if we can get out of this COVID-19 depression, so to speak, and we get the all clear from our President of the United States, looking at the Cowboy Joe Club, how much are they going to be leaned upon by you to get that interest back into athletics at the University of Wyoming?
Oh, it's Cowboy Joe Club is critical, and it's the most important way. Well, the most important way to support the programs is to come to games, buy tickets, and come to games. But the way that impacts the outcome and the success of the programs the most is by donating to Cowboy Joe Club. Sometimes people get confused. They think because its name is the Cowboy Joe Club, it's somehow reserved for football or reserved for men's sports. It is the lifeblood of our women's programs because they don't generate a lot of money. So we have to, right now we're seeing a little bit of a downturn in donations. I think it's temporary, but I will tell you it does make me nervous. We need to turn that back up and get it going here once we get in the middle of the summer and we get through this virus situation and people go back to work. We'll be back beating the streets and trying to get donations because that's the key to our ability to survive.
Real quick, we haven't had this opportunity to chat with you on this. We talked with the new head basketball coach, Jeff Linder, here last week. So let's talk about your hiring of the new basketball coach to replace Alan Edwards. And you didn't have to go too far down the road to find your next head coach at UW.
No, we were fortunate that Coach Linder was in Greeley, and we'd had a chance. I don't know if I'd say we were fortunate, but I'd had a chance to see him play and see him beat us a few times, which I didn't like, but it caught my attention, and had a chance to kind of observe how he does things over the last few years, and I was very impressed. And this is a job he really wanted. I will give him credit. This Wyoming is a tough job. Anybody that says it isn't is living in fantasy land. It's a hard job, but it's not impossible. But for us to be successful, it's got to be a guy or a female who wants to be here. I mean, you got to really be dedicated to this place and have long-term vision. And I think Coach Linder does. I'm really excited about the decisions he's made recently and the staff he's put together, the kids he's recruiting, how he re-recruited some of his players. I just think he's doing an excellent job, and I think the future is very bright. But I've had a lot of people say, hey, congrats, love the hire. And I answer it this way, so do I, but yell at me in 3 years and see if you still love it.
So at this point in time last year when we talked with you, Tom, we knew that Coach Edwards was on the hot seat, again, regarding the recent season that happened prior where, again, attendance was drastically low. Now, fast forward to what we just saw this past season where, again, attendance was just kind of at one of its lowest points there for men's basketball at the AA. But now as we head into a new era there at UW in the AA with the Wyoming Cowboys and head coach Jeff Linder, is there a microscope, so to speak, on Coach Linder here these early seasons to get fans back into the AA, or is this a kind of, as you mentioned, 3 years, is it a grace period to get fans acclimated or at least try to rebuild that fan base from the ground up?
Well, I think it doesn't happen overnight generally, unless you just come out and play really, really well and beat somebody good early in your first year. It does take a little time. What I have asked is to Coach Linder and to the players and to our game operations staff, our marketing staff, our facilities crew. Now, I asked this before we hit this financial crunch, but it's still going to be the same message. We may have to tweak it a little bit. I want that first game, whether it's an exhibition game or a regular season game, the first time somebody walks into the arena next year, I want them to go, wow, it's different. From how the music, the atmosphere, the colors, the energy, the way our team plays, the way we compete, the way our coaches just get after it. I want people to walk out of there and go, huh, I like that. I like the feel. It feels different. We've got to change the product, and that's going to be our goal next year is when people show up in November, they walk out going, huh, different. I'm excited. Let's go.
You know, you mentioned football a couple of times, and that might be the healing time, I guess, for all of us here. You know, we don't know when baseball is going to get started down the road in Colorado, but, you know, looking ahead towards Coach Bull's upcoming campaign with the Wyoming Cowboys, and I know spring practice got wiped out, but, you know, looking at the upcoming football season, and if I'm not mistaken, Tom, what do we have, our fourth highest crowds that came through the turnstiles?
Yeah, I think third or fourth in our history.
So the optimism for the upcoming season looks pretty good. But do you also look at that particular time too? Hopefully, we should be out of it. You know, keeping our fingers crossed, and maybe mom and dad and the kids are going to be able to trek on over, because that's my concern right now is how bad this is going to hurt us in the pocketbook. But obviously, I'm sure you have concerns about that as well too. But is that kind of like our healing time, so to speak, when football gets back into play?
I sure hope so. You know, I sent out a tweet yesterday, a picture of War Memorial Stadium, and I said something to the effect that I can't imagine anything Wyoming's going to need more than celebration in War Memorial Stadium with family and friends. And because this isolation, as important as it is, it's a little bit depressing, and it's awfully isolated, and that's what it should be. I hope, first of all, I hope there's Frontier Days, because I think that could be a great step. But that's awfully early. And then we got a whole other 40 days from Frontier Days to the start of the football season. And I pray that Frontier Days gets it in, and then Cowboys get it in, and everybody from across Wyoming comes together for that home opener, and we celebrate Wyoming, not Wyoming football or University of Wyoming. We celebrate our state and get together and have a great opportunity to have a good time. So that's my dream, and I think I'm optimistic by nature. I think it will happen, but we still got a long ways to go.
And Tom, as you mentioned, you know, kind of being the only guy in the house right now, as you're keeping in touch with your coaches, and one of the things that we've always said with especially collegiate athletics, recruiting is a year-round process. How are the coaches coping with this? And I wouldn't know what NCAA rules are, but I mean, obviously with high technology, they can keep in touch via, you know, Skype and obviously talking on the telephone. But has the NCAA relaxed any rules? Tell. Okay.
Yeah. So like take football, for example. All our sports are doing this, but football I'm most familiar with right now. So our position coaches are doing Zoom meetings with their players all across the country, and they're watching film and they're analyzing film, and they're trying to teach via video and group meetings. And the NCAA has relaxed the number of hours, the restrictions that you could do that. In the past, you were pretty limited on how much of that you could do. Now they've relaxed that, so they are able to do more of that. And all of our sports are doing that. Our coaches are working from home, but they're working. Take, for example, men's, women's basketball. And football. This is a very important recruiting period for all of them, but they can't go out and kids can't come in. And that has been extended. I think the NCAA extended that today till the end of May. So we can't bring a kid to Laramie, nor can we go out for another 2 months. And that's really, really challenging, but we're learning to do things differently. We had our video crew walk through all of our facilities and make a little video for basketball, and those coaches are sending video out to the prospective student athletes. They're following up with calls and just doing the best they can to recruit. But it's a challenge, but it's an equal challenge for everybody.
Well, Tom, we want to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to chat with us, and we do appreciate it. And we'll catch up with you again down the road shortly.
All right, guys, thank you. Stay positive, stay healthy, and we'll get out of this.
All righty, sounds good. University of Wyoming Athletic Director Tom Burman on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We'll take a timeout. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for fun and style, then the new 2019 Kia Optima has what you need. And here at Kia of Cheyenne, we can help you own one. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Optima will reward your daily drive with comfort, performance, and advanced engineering. Kia Optima technology, your phone allows access to remote lock or unlock, climate control, 24-hour roadside assistance, and much more. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
College has been something that's always been on the back of my mind.
This is where I found what I wanted, one of my passions, what I really love to do.
In class, I feel more engaged.
The people here do care about you, and they want to help you succeed in life.
They make it so easy to be a parent and be able to still go to school.
I like the way I'm improving.
I love being, a part of the LCCC family, and I'm glad I made this step in my life.
And welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk. Today we have one final segment. And again, we hope we get the opportunity to talk to Laramie County School District Number 1 Superintendent Boyd Brown.
I've sent out 2 emails so far this week and have not had a single response, so outlook is not too good.
Well,
again, this is a very controversial thing happening here. But again, as if you've not seen the story, again, it was something that was posted in the newspaper here locally that, again, springtime coaches here in Laramie County School District Number 1, and again, not sure if this is across the entire state, but at least here in this school district,
county,
again, affecting here the city of Cheyenne. But those spring coaches, for instance, of girls and boys soccer, golf, track and field, a lot of them, again, found at least news that their pay was going to be cut by about 5/6, that they were going to receive about 1/6 of their at least guaranteed pay.
So basically, if you made $6,000 for a sport, you're only going to get $1,000.
Yeah.
But here's the deal, and again, I know a lot of these coaches do it for the love, but also too, it's that extra income. Understandable. But I think we just heard from Tom Burman, and he made a very good point from NCAA basketball. And again, I'm not taking anybody's side on this one, but Tom Burman said without the NCAA basketball tournament taking place, UW lost over $500,000. And again, we had San Diego State in there and Utah State that were going to be into the tournament.
Yeah.
And again, that's money's what that first round. And again, I'm just going to throw the ballpark number out. if each team made $500,000 in the first round, $250,000 goes to Utah State. The rest is divvied amongst the league. Well, San Diego State probably was projected to go higher. The higher you go, the more cash you receive for being a participant. Well, in this situation where where athletic director Tom Burman said
that's larger monies on that grander scale.
I know, but again, he's talking $500,000. Again, I don't know what Laramie County School District number 1. Again, they're not in business right now. There's nobody going through turnstiles, Nick. There's nobody paying to see track and field or swimming or buying popcorn, hot dogs, whatever the case may be. There was no monies from the state tournament.
Yeah.
Because that one got wiped out as well, too. And I know the city of Casper would be making some monies. But again, from the Wyoming High School Activity Association, I don't know how much they divvy across to the school districts.
And again, with the state as well, too, where you got to imagine that unemployment or at least kind of request for that money's now that, again, state, we talk about the state of Wyoming where it seems like financials, especially when you get to the state legislator side, are pretty tight year in and year out. And again, who fills kind of those remnants are the school districts.
Well, monies had already been distributed for this school year, but maybe in a preventive effort, hey, we may not get all of that cash next year. I've got to look at saving $1 here and there.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have the answer, and I'm not taking anybody's side. I'm just saying, if there's no sport, I can understand why you didn't get paid, but also, too, this should have been, instead of, dropping it like a bomb, I think it could have been presented a lot easier when it first developed, going back to the basketball tournament. If this thing lasts longer than it should, hey, this is a thing that we're exploring right now.
And again, this is a scenario that, again, the stipend that we're at least being divvied out to these coaches here in town for the spring sports, again, it's pretty much of, well, your sport's not in action right now. We don't need to pay you the full amount due to the fact that you're not really doing anything, or at least, again, you're not putting that sport out there. And again, not saying that's a right opinion by the school district here or not. Again, in my opinion, I think it's a little unfair of what at least Laramie County School District number 1 did to these coaches who, again, not only just coach, again,
they give their time.
They give extra time. Again, they're working outside of that actual sport that's going on, or again, that event that happens that day. Again, they're doing more than just what is that sport for those athletes, for those schools, whether it is Central, South, or East. And again, throughout this entire school district. But it sounds like that they're going to wait to see if those spring sports get back in action. And again, that's up to the Activities Association here in the state of Wyoming. Do they say track and field? Yeah, you can continue at this point. Soccer, you can continue at this point. It's up to that Activities Association to determine, or at least that's my understanding, is that the school district is waiting on them to make that decision of, yes, spring sports are either canceled or we're going to start them at a later date or shorten the season in some way, shape, or form. Again, in the quote, or at least what Dr. Boyd Brown had to say, Superintendent Boyd Brown had to say to the paper was basically, hey, when those sports are back in action, then they'll get their full monies, essentially. So, again, it's not an issue of them sitting on that money worried about it. Again, as you mentioned, hey, they already had that money in place. It's pretty much of, well, your sport is not in action until it is. We don't feel the need to pay you the full amount.
Oh, I don't think that's right the way you're saying it, Nick. The way it should be presented was, hey, we're going to give you this amount for basically it's almost how do I use it? You're getting a little bit of this stipend, but we can't give you the full amount because this was not carried out. Again, this is not a contract.
Yeah.
Again, this is overtime, so to speak. Again, coaches are doing this to make extra money.
Which, again, those extra monies for a good amount of those coaches probably relied on. Again, it's kind of like that.
You know what?
It's kind of like that Christmas bonus.
How about the bus drivers that are not driving the kids around right now?
Yeah.
They need that money.
Yeah.
The ladies that are cook the food for all the schools, the men and women, I should say. So again, everybody's being hit by this. And again, the teacher's contract. I'm venturing to say, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I hope I'm not stepping out of line here. I'm hoping that they're still getting paid now that there is no school in session. Now, I know they're doing stuff online, but, they're still
or they will again.
They're still getting paid.
Yeah.
And again, the situation here on the sports side, it is unfortunate. And right now, Nick, we're looking at towards the end of the month before the President of the United States decides that we may, in some areas, because he had mentioned in a press conference that maybe the Midwest, which includes us out here, we might have that opportunity to stretch our legs and go back to school again and resume sports. But also, too, talking with Chad Whitworth the other day, we're looking at least about 9 practices before you can really commence sports.
And again, it also too muddles in where, a lot of these athletes, for instance, if they competed in track and field or something, again, they got baseball, or, hey, now it's summertime, I'm not going to focus on it. I got to, especially some of those seniors, hey, I got to get ready for college to move on to that next level. It muddles that up a bit where those timelines, or at least the time window, gets that much more smaller, especially where you got to look at the broad scheme of from freshmen to seniors of, all right, not everyone's on that equal kind of field right now that could be out there to compete for those athletics. Again, it's right now up to the Activities Association, and again, across the state of Wyoming, again, with a lot of those athletic directors and some of those representatives on the board, that you got to figure out, do we do it at all, or is it worth it to continue? Is the time there available for these teams and for these athletics? Again, as we live day by day right now, is again, everything is evolving or changing, minute by minute at this point in time in this world. You can't really make that decision.
No, and again, too, think about this, Nick. Once school would be released in June, in addition to going off to summertime sports, you also have camps, and you have other coaches in other, whether it's collegiate or even in high school, that put on these camps, and that also is another direction to make income during the summer. Again, there's a lot of things that are affected by this.
It's going to have some sort of interesting domino effect throughout the nation where, for sports-wise, yes, it is. Hey, I already had a softball camp that I was going to attend. I'm not going to go out for soccer. I don't care. Again, I got to get ready for college. And to all the coaches, I can't come back I'm not going to compete for a couple weeks here in the summer. No, I got to look at my future. Or again, with financials for some of these, for some of these high school athletes, maybe they have to kind of chip in now. Families go, hey, we're tight on financials. Can you look for a part-time job to help us during the summertime? And
again, too, to all those coaches out there that are being hit, I mean, again, everybody's being hit. Nick, you even mentioned it earlier when we were talking with Chuck Heeman. From the local restaurant to a teacher at East High School to Larry Proetti and KRAE and KYOI Radio, we're all being affected by this right now. Mm-hmm. And tough decisions are being made. What Dr. Boyd Brown made, again, I'm not on his side. I'm just saying that was and that also came with Laramie County School District number 1 Board of Trustees.
Yeah.
He can't just sit there and go, hey, this is going to happen. This all came down and saying, hey, guys, this is the way it's got to be. We just don't have the funds. We don't know what the X factor is going to be next year.
Yeah.
And again, Tom Burman mentioned oil prices right now. A barrel of oil is $20 a barrel. Usually we are sitting around $40 to $50 a barrel, Nick. That's $20 right there alone.
A state that depends on it. It's same with coal, where I do believe coal mines are also too getting affected up there in the north, where
everything and everybody's being affected by this virus. Not just here in Wyoming, across the 48 contiguous U.S. states, Alaska, Hawaii, the world is all being affected by this right now. And sometimes some of the sacrifices that are being made right now are not going to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
And it's understandable. And I feel for those coaches. I know the time, the effort they put in.
Yeah.
But again, too, we have to look at sometimes we gotta brace for the unknown. And that's what you and me are going through right now. Mm-hmm. It's an unknown. It's an X factor. Will we be here tomorrow? Don't know.
Who knows?
Don't know. Anyway, we got to wrap things up. Once again, let's run down the list here. We want to thank all the way from Connecticut joining us. He was Skyping with you, the Connecticut Chiefs hockey coach, Neil Breen, former Cheyenne Stampede head coach. We had Western Nebraska Pioneers and Casper Horseheads baseball club owner Chuck Heeman join us, a good friend of ours. We had DeWayne Saulsberry, the new head coach at LCCC. Again, we've been with DeWayne and Jason Ficker for the last 3 years.
You got to put that term on it, kind of like what we do with Dr. Henning. Again, interim head coach.
All right, the interim head coach, but to me, he's going to be the head coach. That's who I'm going to be interviewing.
LCCC likes to do the interim titles.
Well,
out there.
I'll be interviewing the head coach next year, and then also most recently UW Athletic Director Tom Burman joined us here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Again, thank you to all our fine local sponsors being with us. Again, please, I know I direct this message quite a bit on our radio side, and I do it here on our YouTube and Periscope side. Please, when you can, always do your business locally. Again,
doesn't matter here in Cheyenne, again,
wherever you're at. Give the locals an opportunity.
For those folks that followed me on Twitter, again out of Kentucky, again your local Kentucky towns out there, again throughout the entire U.S. Again, absolutely support those small businesses where again they're kind of the backbone of this country. They are what kind of gives everyone that opportunity. So,
hey, welcome to my world. We are as local as all get out, and again, we want to thank you for allowing us to be here.
It's almost a beautiful renaissance, at least time, where where folks that couldn't care less about small businesses, again going to kind of those large corporates. Well, now the message is now being heard around the nation loud and clearly of, hey, small businesses need you desperately now.
We need you today. We need you always. So for Nick Proetti, I'm Larry Proetti.
Before since we do a weekly show right now where again it's kind of sporadic. Again, as I've mentioned a few times with Wyoming Sports Talk today, we're not going to come in every single day and bore you to death with rehashing stuff or again just kind of playing review or rehashing stuff. No, again, when news is fresh and happening or something is evolving in the sports world, again, we'll bring it to you. But again, don't anticipate us to have that weekly schedule Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Again, we hopefully will get back to that at some point in time. But again, as everything is on a standstill and more important things kind of sit in front of us in our daily lives, it'll
be nice to have guests come back in studio.
Yeah, again, but again, at this point in time, there's no need to be a daily show right now for Wyoming Sports Talk today.
And we do want to thank our sponsors for hanging tough with us, and again, we'll always take care of them like they've taken care of us through the years too.
But again, as we haven't done it in a while, again, we'll go on this date in history for one time. It is April Fool's Day, where I was hoping that the president would come on today and say, hey, this was all an April Fool's joke, but it is April 1st. We'll go back to the year 1972. Hey, that would be beautiful if it was all just a long-played joke. But either way, though, we'll go back to the year 1972, April 1st. This first ever happened in this league.
Oh, that'd be the designated hitter in the American League.
No. You're right with baseball, but it wasn't that.
The first thing happened in 1972, huh? Oh, I got baseball right, so I'm
MLB
a third of the
players staged first ever collective strike, where play does resume a few days later. How about 12 days later, when owners and players agree to $500,000 increase in pension fund payments back in 1972. So again, the first ever collective strike.
All right, and I apologize because the designated hitter came in 73. So we'll wrap things up. With that, for Nick Proetti, I'm Larry Proetti. We wrap up Wyoming Sports Talk today on, again, YouTube and Periscope via Twitter. Take care and have a wonderful evening.